Welcome to TV Toastmasters Club 9523. This is our meeting on the first Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock. We also meet on the third Saturday at 10 a.m. in the community room on the upper level. We're down on the lower level today in the ACTV studio. I would like to thank everyone for coming today, and welcome to our unseen guest at home, and welcome to our guest in our studio, Saket Tripathi, who is visiting us for the first time, and I hope that you will like what you see. We're going to have a good meeting tonight. We've got some good things going on, and I would like to welcome everyone. And I will now I'm the presiding officer tonight in the absence of the president being ill. And so I will be the presiding officer, and I'll also be the Toastmaster. So I'd like to welcome the Toastmaster, Carol Cormelink, distinguished Toastmaster. And our first order of the day, one of the things we do at Toastmasters, we have an impromptu part of the Toastmasters, and we have prepared speeches, and then we do the outstanding difference that makes Toastmasters different from any other communication organization or leadership is by giving feedback on how well the person did in their speech, and a couple opportunities to make it even clearer or better the next time, and then end with their strengths, what they do. So that is something that we're really good at doing at Toastmasters, is giving feedback, which helps if people have to give annual reviews. It helps them, so saying you need to do better, they have some concrete items to give them on how they can improve. After we do the impromptu session, we have the word power grammarian as part of the impromptu session, and we count your Ozoms, and our grammarian today will have a word of the day. After that, we have table topics, which is a fun part of the meeting. After you've been here a while, when you first come, you go, oh, I hope they don't call on me. It's where you have the opportunity to think on your feet. So if your boss asks you a question unexpected, you don't have brain freeze and can't think of anything because you've learned to come up with some reply. But the one thing you can do here that you can't do at work, you can either tell the truth, you can make up a story, or you can say that reminds me of something else. So those last two things aren't good to do at work, but at least they teach you how to not have brain freeze and keep your mind open. After the table topics, we then have 3 prepared speeches. I'm looking forward to all 3 of those tonight, and I will introduce each person individually. And then we have the general evaluator, who is also will be me tonight. I will just go from one right into the other, and I will be evaluator number 1, and Jamia will be evaluator number 2, and Sean will be number 3, and our timer is Suzanne. We time everything at Toastmasters, so we learn to stay within a defined time, and when a meeting is supposed to stop in half an hour, you're not there an hour and a half later. That's one of the things you learn, is to be concise and to be able to express yourself in a meeting. And our camera tonight, we would like to thank Alexander for filming our meeting this evening, and his mom Suzanne. Yes, thank you, Sean. His mom Suzanne is going to be our timer this evening, and we will now get started with our word of the day grammarian. That will be Sean Gallagher, and Sean is an advanced communicator silver and advanced leader bronze. He's moving up the ladder in his educational achievements.
I'm trying to keep up with you, Carol. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Madam Toastmaster.
Whoa, I forgot your speech is, he's doing project number 3 in the Competent Communication Manual, Get to the Point, and his speech title, Being a Grandparent. Does that make you old?
So am I speaking now, or am I giving the word of the day, grammarian?
Sorry. Thank
Okay.
you.
I just want to make sure what
order.
role am I filling?
Yeah,
right this minute?
you are filling the grammarian, and give us a good word that we can use.
Okay, I'll be the grammarian.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Our word of the day will be prepared. Everybody say it with me. Prepared. Write it down if you wish.
Did you say ED or just
Prepared with a D, but you can use any form that you wish to, Carol Cormelink.
Okay.
So try to use that in any time you're up here giving a presentation, whether a speech, table topic, or otherwise. Feel free to work that in, because that allows us to think on our feet. When we weren't prepared to use the word prepared, we prepared to use it because we weren't prepared. What did I just say? So that's the word of the day. Grammarian really helps us with, I would say, crutch words, with filler words, with habits that aren't conducive to great public speaking. Me, I clear my throat 1,000 times, and I'll tell you that 1,000 times. Ums and ahs and so's. So is a word that's very interesting because it can be used in certain places. Other times it's a crutch word. I'll be counting that and reporting it at the end of the meeting. Madam Toastmaster, would you like to come up and go on to the next section of the meeting?
Yes. Thank you for that word of the day, prepared, and I was well prepared with our agendas, printed them out, and they're either at home on the printer or in one of my other club boxes. I'm in 3 clubs. We then will have the fun part of our meeting, the impromptu, which is Topics Master, and this is where you're asked a question, not of your choosing, and then you have from the time you leave your seat to come up here to think of a reply. And as I said, you may either tell the truth, make up a story, or say that reminds me and talk about something else. And one of our newest members, Suzanne, is going to be our Table Topics Master tonight. And let us welcome Suzanne to the lectern.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I was not prepared for that one to come out. But I did prepare some table topics. With Halloween only a couple of days ago, I just had to come up with some table topics questions about it. Just think about it. It is Halloween evening. Your neighbor's house was just TP'd by your kids. And you know about it, but the neighbor does not. What will you do? Sean Gallagher.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. So in my neighborhood, my next door neighbors, Lyle and Jerry, they're wonderful people. They're retired, and we get along very well with them. My kids are sometimes mischievous, and they would do something like that. They'd go out for cabbage night, mischief night, whatever you want to call that for Halloween, and they certainly would think about toilet papering Lyle's house. Being the autocrat that I am as a parent, my response would be absolutely walk over to Lyle and Jerry and apologize, clean up everything you did, and then offer 52 weekends out of the year to go and help them with housework, whether it means cleaning the house, raking leaves, cutting the lawn, washing windows. I often went overboard when I was raising my kids as far as disciplinarian. Never physically abused them, didn't have to, but certainly I feel like kids need to understand the rules and the boundaries of society and respect for other people. I really think I would have been pretty tough on them. I'm going to share another story, and it's going to be quick enough I can get it done in a minute. As an example, we used to hide our kids' Christmas gifts around the house. And in our bedroom, under a blanket, we thought they weren't going to be found. I went back to look at them one day and didn't find one of the gifts I knew was for my son. And it happened to be a bionicle Lego building dude that was a robot that I knew he would love. I find it under his bed. And I said, so Thomas, where'd this come from? He didn't lie. At that moment he said, oh, I've had that. Which could really be true. He didn't say he found it, he bought it, someone gave it to him. I've had that is just saying he's had it. My response to that was, we're taking back to the store, getting the money. You're going to take that money and buy a different gift, and we're going to go to the orphanage down the street and give that to somebody that's less fortunate than yourself. So I'm hoping you learned a lesson from that. I'm hoping I don't sound like a rockhead. But that's my response to your question, Madam Table Topics Master. Thank you.
Boy, I'm glad I did not grow up in your house. That's all I can say. I would not have been a very prepared kid. So the next one for Halloween, if you would have a friendly encounter with some aliens that just happen to come down on Halloween Eve, How would you explain to them this strange custom of Halloween? How about Jamia?
No pressure, anytime.
How would I explain to extraterrestrials our custom of Halloween? It would probably be a pretty difficult thing to do because there's nothing that we really like to give away for free. People aren't that generous. So the whole idea that you could go to someone's home and open a bag and say, say the magic words trick or treat and get something that you would want to have is really kind of mind-boggling that that we do that. I would let them know that that is not something that they could see all the time in our world, and that it is a once a year phenomenon where you can expect to go up to many different types of people and have your hand out and expect something in return. Don't try it on November 1st. That would also be my next word for them.
With Halloween just passing, and the next thing that's coming up is the time change, which there are some people that are for it and some people that are against it. And I would like to know from Sarkett, what is your argument against the time change that's coming this weekend?
Time change again?
Time change. We actually have,
Daylight savings.
daylight savings time, sorry.
We fall
Yes.
back an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So,
this from Saturday to Sunday, we actually are
Okay.
gaining an hour. And some people like that and some people don't. They want to stay with the time
okay.
constantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting topic, like a time change, because I mean, we have almost around 200 countries, and this time change is like daylight saving is not across the globe. It's in US, but the background from where I am coming from, the India, there is no such kind of that time change. So I'm just sharing my experience. Like when I was kid, I used to hate winters because in summers I used to play till 7 o'clock, but in winter time I used to get time till only 5:20. So I can't come back. I can't go outside and come at 7 because my father was. I mean, like every other father, he was quite strict on that, and he just want to. So what my feeling is like, if it will be across the globe and everywhere. So what my personal thinking is like, time change is like, if I will get in summer also that 7 o'clock and in winter also, because of this daylight saving. So I was more prepared, and I was more like, it will be uniform for me. So some people are against that, because of the work culture, or they will save 1 hour of time of actually going to they are moving. Earlier they are going to 9 o'clock office, now they are 8 o'clock. Time is same every time. We have 24 hours, but the thing is like, we are saving the daylight. So when I was kid, from the kid point of view, it should be uniform. But thinking about the environment and the light saving, then it is. I will be more of the environmentalist on that perspective, that we can save time and we can utilize those things in other prospect manner. So I think this daylight saving is having good impact on our society, and it should be implemented throughout the region, even in back home in India, because that is more environment friendly, and that is more generous to the nature. So that I support in for this daylight saving. Thank you.
Madam Toastmaster, did you want me to do one more question?
No.
Or are we ready? Yeah.
Since we have 3 speeches.
Like, that's enough.
Absolutely not.
You were not prepared for that question. Thank you.
Oh, that's a good use of the word of the day, prepared. Thank you for those great questions, and it got good responses. I like those, and I like that you made your kids responsible for their actions. A lot of parents don't make their children responsible for their actions, and I think that's a mistake. So I was glad that you gave that tough love. And every Toastmaster club I've been in the last 2 weeks, they have Halloween questions. And the one guy last night, when they asked him, what was your most embarrassing moment Halloween? He said, it was last night. He said, I came to the door and I would tease and say, I don't have any treats. What trick are you going to do? And they go, they don't know what it is. And so the one kid, when he did that and put it out there, I don't want any of that. So that kind of threw him back. But it's been very interesting, all the trick and treater stuff. Our next order of business on the agenda is the first speaker of our day. Our speaker today is going to be speaking, let me get the right list here. Well, I don't have these in order. They were in order. Okay. Our first speaker today will be Sean Gallagher. In fact, he's wearing many hats today. He has 3 or 4 roles that he's doing, and he is an Advanced Communicator Silver, an Advanced Leader Bronze. He is speaking from the basic manual. This is the second time he's going through that, or is it the third or fourth? Third time he's going through the manual. And we have different projects in each manual, and the one that he is doing is number 3, Get to the Point. You learn to get your point across in 5 to 7 minutes. His title is, Being a Grandparent, Does That Make You Old? Being a grandparent, does that make you old? Sean Gallagher, Advanced Communicator Silver.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Before we start the timer, I want to ask evaluators, keep focused on my ability to use pauses and my use of variable volume through my speech. I'm struggling with that somewhat, so I want to make sure we keep that as an idea. No, I gave it to anybody who's a club member. So we don't get evaluation from people who haven't joined yet. I would have given it to you freely, but without you having been a member yet. But look forward to when you join a club, you can start giving evaluations as well. I'm sure you're excited about that. Ready, Suzanne?
I'm ready.
By a show of hands, who in here is a grandparent?
Great.
Who in here knows a grandparent? Very good. At least I was able to bring everyone in. Think about grandparents. Consider grandparents' appearance. Think about how they look. Think about how they act. Think about how they feel. In our society, we really stereotype grandparents. You look in movies, you look at commercials, they show a grandparent is old, physically disabled sometimes, slow, dull, old. This is a stereotype that's running throughout probably the whole world. I'm here to challenge that stereotype. And I'm going to show you 3 parts of life that I know being a grandparent can actually make you feel younger. Those 3 parts of life will be flicks, food, and fun. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I've got 3 grandkids, and I'm going to, I prepared myself. I'm going to pass around the picture. That's my 3 grandkids and their mom. Billy is 8, Brendan is 6, Addison is 4. We were fortunate enough, my wife and I, to actually choose our grandparent names. I chose Pappy, my wife chose Lily, because think about the fact, for the rest of my life, I could have had a grandparent name I didn't like. Embarrassing, not something I love, something that's not as fun as I was hoping. So we immediately chose our grandparent names when we started out. When the grandkids come over, first thing we do is we watch movies, flicks. Now, if it were up to me, we'd be watching action films or war dramas, History Channel, maybe some documentaries. If it was up to Lily, we'd be watching romantic comedies, feel-good movies, dramas, Gilmore Girls. But when the grandkids come over, they choose movies like Iron Giant, which is a cartoon that's been around for a while about a big old giant that is militaristically created, but actually ends up having a heart in the end. Or they like to watch a show called Dinobots, which is a combination like Transformers of dinosaurs and moving trucks in cartoon. Or of course, I know this one, The Lion King. So consider sitting down watching The Lion King at your age right now. You're watching Simba follow along King Mufasa, pouncing after him, hoping to be as brave and strong and smart as his dad that manages the whole Pride Land. Watching this cartoon, relating to what's going on, enjoying it, tell me you don't feel a little bit younger at that particular moment watching that movie. The next portion of life as a pappy would be food. Lily and Pappy eat this kind of food because of age. We eat natural yogurt, raw honey, broccoli, cod liver oil, flaxseed. Works on your joints, your brain function, your stomach and digestive health. None of it fun, and none of it make you feel young. In fact, when you take that kind of stuff, you feel a little bit older. When the grandkids come over, dinner and lunch, they choose chicken nuggets, French fries, and ketchup. And ketchup isn't always mixed with French fries or chicken, often eaten on its own. For breakfast, they choose Eggo waffles, maple bacon syrup, and whipped topping. The whipped topping can be eaten on the Eggos, can be eaten with a spoon, or as Pappy and Brendan like to do it, you get the container and you wipe your finger and you eat it straight out of the container. There's no way I'm feeling old when I get to share that with Brendan. Fun. We actually try to turn off electronics besides some TV shows when the kids come over, grandkids come over. So we've got a lot of board games. We've got games that some of you might know. We've got a game called Cathedral, which is a very fun building and strategic game. We've got Connect 4. We've got Trouble, which is so interesting because when you put it down, you push that little plastic button and it pops up and moves the dice for you. And we've got my all-time favorite, Mousetrap. They still have Mousetrap today. And consider this game. You take the board, you start building almost like an engineer. All the pieces have to fit together and be completely snapped into place. Then one unsuspecting person that's moving a mouse around lands on that spot. Pappy gets to actually crank that wheel. And when you crank that wheel, it kicks the boot. And the boot rolls the ball. And the ball goes down the stairs. And then the ball hits the lever and flips the guy up in the air and hits the bathtub. And that cage comes right down on that unsuspecting mouse. Directly on top. Mousetrap. Who here is not reliving their youth, thinking about playing Mousetrap and feeling just a little bit younger while you're doing it? In conclusion, based on our Lily and Pappy experiences, I've got to say that if you do it right, when you're a grandparent, you're going to feel a little bit younger in life. Madam Toastmaster.
Your grandparent experience is quite a bit different than my grandparent experience because I never got involved in their games. In fact, they played those things where they drive the cars and they run over pedestrians and shoot the cops and all that. I'm going, why are you playing that? It's not teaching you good values. We will now have, if you would put 2 minutes on the clock for writing an evaluation for Sean. Write, if you want to write him any words of encouragement, what you liked about it. And all of that was over my head because I didn't do any of that. but I like your 3 Fs. You what? 2 minutes? Thank you. We now come to the second prepared speech, and I've known this person all of my life. For 84 years, I've known this person. And I would like to introduce our next speaker, that is Carol Cormlink, and I am speaking from the Competent Communication Manual, the basic manual, number 9, and I think I'm on my number 26 manual. I'm not sure that I've been through this a few times. And in 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to persuade you and asking you, are you having fun? Toastmasters is the safe environment in which to fail your way to success. That's right. Fail your way to success. And best of all is the fun you will have in learning to be your most motivated, excellent self. I have a guru with the 100-day challenge, and he's always teaching you to be your very best. And he said, the big don't eat the small, the fast eat the slow. And he wants you to start fast and finish strong. And he's always promoting to be your very best that you can be. In Toastmasters, we have a lot of awards. What do you know about the Triple Crown Award? I am wearing, someplace here, here it is. I am wearing the Triple Crown Award. Some people take it, when I first went through the manual, it took me 3 years to go through the manual. Now I can go through 2 or 3 manuals in 1 year. And if you go through more than one manual and get an educational award, when you get 3 of those, you get a Triple Crown. The district gives you the Triple Crown Award. So that's one thing you may not know and may not think you could even achieve. But if you set the goal, and one thing about a goal, when it is written down, you're more apt to achieve it than just having it floating around in your brain. I went to a workshop, self-esteem workshop, personal growth, and they had you write down 5 seemingly impossible goals. I wrote down the 5 on a 3x5 card, put it in the bookcase, never looked at it, and about 5 years later I found it and I looked at it and I go, I did that, I did that, I did that. And when I was telling that at one of our Toastmaster meetings, a person in the audience had said, I did the same thing. I wrote down 5 goals, put it away, never even thought about it again. And when I looked at, I did that, I did that, I did that. And there's something about having it written down where it's cooking like a slow pressure cooker in your mind, and you may not even be aware that you're working towards that goal. So the power of the written goal is very strong, and if you make the goal, I like the way that Gary Ryan Blair, I have set goals many different ways. I've used the SMART, the SMART acronyms, but what I like is his 1, 3, 5 way of setting goals. He has 1 clear, concise, time-bound goal. 3 compelling reasons why to reach that goal, and that's my hardest part, is why do I want to do this? And then he has the 5 steps that you will take. And I found out, let's say that I wanted to bring in 10 new members in 5 weeks. That would be 2 a week. Well, if you go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, that's 10 members. But if you don't get 10 members that first week, you're disappointed because you didn't make your goal. But if your goal is to get 1 member and you get that 1 member, you can use that momentum and their enthusiasm, and they usually want to bring somebody and show what a great thing Toastmasters is. And you have 2 the next week, and maybe 3 the next week, 4 the next week, 5 the next week. That's 15 rather than just having 10, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And that's, I sort of based that on Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, where he has the debt snowball reduction. And when I was in debt, when I first got married, and I put things on credit card because I needed them and I didn't have the cash for them, I would dribble a little bit on this bill, a little bit on this bill, and a little bit on this bill. So I was always paying interest. Dave Ramsey has you list all of your debts from the lowest to the very most expensive. And you start paying off that low one that may be only $5 a month on something. When you pay that off, you put that towards your $10 a month bill that you're paying. And when you pay that off, that's $15 that goes towards the $25 one. So instead of paying $25, now you're paying $40. And each time as you do that, when you get to the $400 or $500 that you should be paying a month, you have the money. And you're actually eliminating that. You're not constantly, if you dribble it a little bit here, a little bit there, you're always paying that interest. And this is the smart way to do that. So we also, in Toastmasters, this year the district is giving many, many, many incentives to accomplish, to be your very best, to learn at Toastmasters. They have open houses. If you have an open house, you send the flyer to the district. They will send you a booster bag. It has a lot of goodies. It has flyers that you can put around the town, and it has other things in there. And if you, each person that you sign up from that, you get a reward for that. I forget what it is because there were so many I couldn't keep track of all of them. And if any of the internationals runs 3 membership campaigns a year, we just went through the Smedley Award. Dr. Ralph Smedley founded Toastmasters International in 1924. And so every October, in August and September, before that October 1st, is called the Smedley Award. In January, in February and March, at the beginning of the year, in February and March, they want the clubs to build up because in April we have dues payment again, where we need as many members as we can get so our clubs will be able to show accomplishment at the end of the year. And that's called the Talk Up Toastmasters. And at the end of the year, in May and June, that 2-month membership campaign is Beat the Clock, because it's going to be the end of the year, and people say, a year ago they said, yeah, I'm going through my manual and 10 speeches. I can do that because we've got 24 meetings, so I can do that. Well, maybe they're only on speech 2 or 3 because they just never signed up. This helps you to know where you are and what you're striving for. If you want to really grow, whenever somebody says, would you be a judge at the contest? Would you do this? Would you do that? If you say yes, you will get so much more out of your Toastmaster experience when you step outside your club. There's many perks. I have the bag that they gave all of the area directors. I'm an area director responsible for 8 clubs in the Kenwood area to have them be their best, and they're doing really great. I'm glad I got some good clubs this year. Ace, my home club, one of my clubs, Ace, happens to be one of them, and Ace is doing okay, but they're not doing as well as the others. But the more you learn, the more fun you're having while you're learning. This is where, as I said in the beginning, you can fail your way to success, and you will learn more from your mistakes than you will if everything goes well. And God never promised you that you wouldn't have things to deal with. He promised that he'd be there to help you get through the storm. He never promised that you would not have a storm. So I challenge you to set goals for yourself, to say what manual, how much you're going to do this year, have a plan, and keep track of how you're doing. And I challenge you to have more than just one educational award, and help us bring in members, because we also get credit for being in members. I have this 5, I brought in 5 members, someplace here, here it is. When you bring in 3 members, when you sponsor 3 members, that you tell 3 people to come join Toastmasters and they join, your name goes on an international roster of everybody around the world who has brought in at least 3 members. When you bring in 5 members, you get the 5-member pin. When you bring in 10 members, you get the 10-member pin. And when you bring in 15, you get a 25% discount off of your next supply order from International if you want to buy more manuals or t-shirts or whatever you might like from the Toastmasters International store. And it goes on. And one year I wanted to be the leader in the district, and I recruited 38 people that year, and I led the district in the number of members sponsored. So there are great things, and I feel good, and I find that the more I give away, the more I do for Toastmasters, the more enjoyment I'm having. I have a lot of fun with that. So plan, get out your pens and think what you're going to be doing and track it. Write it down and surprise yourself with what you can accomplish. Mrs. Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster. And if you will give 2 minutes on the timer to have the evaluator be able to write some notes. Thank you. We now come to the evaluation portion of our meeting, and I'm happy to be the general evaluator filling another role this evening. And the evaluation is where, as I mentioned before, that we give the strengths that we saw, what we liked about the speech, and an opportunity for something to clarify that may make the speech better the next time, and then what the strengths were. Our first evaluator today happens to be me for Sean. And I didn't realize that I was supposed to be evaluating you. I was taking notes, but I wasn't doing it with the idea of evaluating you. And after I got finished, I thought, I was supposed to be taking notes on him. One of the things that I liked, you had a lot of 3s. You had the 3 Fs, the flicks, the fun, the food, and the fun. And you had the 3 grandkids, and you had 3 this and 3 that. And I thought that was really neat that 3 is my lucky number. I was born in 1933, so 3 is my lucky number. That resonated with me, that used 3 3s, and that's one of the good things to do in communication is the triad, 3 things. And in what a comedian does, it's called a periprostokian, which they have 2 jokes, they tell 2 things, and then the third one runs off track. For instance, when Darren LaCroix was doing jokes in a comedy club, he said that it was really, he was going to go on a camping trip and it was really cold weather, and that he took warm blankets, a lantern, and his mom. So he threw you off track because you're thinking some other thing. So that's what you're doing all with this 3, and I'd say you were well prepared. You prepared yourself to be a loving pappy. I just told my grandkids to call me Carol. But I like that you are giving them experiences, and that's what I decided last year at Christmas. I would no longer give money because I don't know what they do with it. And I said, you just tell me what you want to do and I'll pay for it. And so my son and his girlfriend went on a cruise to the Mexican Riviera. And that's what I think, and that's what I hear that you were doing in here. You were having experiences, you're playing on the floor with them, you're playing games with them, you're giving them a legacy, you're giving them things to remember you for. That old grandpa, he's an old fuddy-duddy. You're fun to be with, you enjoy them, you love them, and I thought it was very good. I thought you achieved this specific and the general purpose of being a grandpa, and that is, it's fun, it makes you feel younger. Some people feel like they're really old, and that makes you feel younger. And the one thing that you didn't mention about being a grandparent that I thought was really neat, when they act up, you say, okay, it's time to go home. Yeah, grandchildren are really fun because you don't have to deal with all of their growing up. That you can have the fun parts of them, and if they get on your nerves a little too much that they're not being very good that day, you just say, oh, it's a great time, and it's time to go home now. So I enjoyed your speech, and so your question, being a grandparent, does that make you old? And your title with your speech said, no, it makes you feel younger. So thank you for that speech, and I appreciate that. Our next evaluator for me will be Jamia, and if Jamia will come up and give me the evaluation of, are we having fun?
Carol's speech, Failing Your Way to Success, was project number 9, Persuade with Power. And I'll start by saying we didn't get to share that with everybody at the beginning. You went from your introduction on into the speech. And so I was not prepared for for you to begin, so I was a little bit confused with the opening. But anyone that knows Carol knows that she is a credible source for this topic with her persuasion skills in various Toastmaster roles. You definitely, you definitely were credible. It definitely was interesting, and it contained information that was relevant for those of us here. One thing I would consider doing differently is adding additional personal examples of failure. You did talk about what you used to do regarding debt, and how you used to have the credit cards, and they kept interest, and you had to pay that. Maybe a timeline could have been included, like when was that you heard about Dave Ramsey's program about debt reduction or freedom from debt, I guess, not more than debt reduction. So that would have been a good thing to hear. But the personal examples of failure related to Toastmasters, what I mean is how many no's would you get before someone agrees to come? Because you invite a lot of people. And so because the speech was for Toastmasters and those who are already a part of it, that hopefully is a goal for all of us to want to bring others in, and that's probably a turnoff. I know that's one reason why I don't share as freely, about what's going on, because I don't want to deal with all the no's and the rejection of that. So it might be a good idea to include what were some of those experiences like, and how do you keep going to be persistent in getting people to come. I definitely enjoyed the topic, as I said, and I was persuaded to try other avenues. I was not aware of the different ways that Toastmaster recognizes those that bring in a certain number of members, or even completing a project in a certain number of manuals in a year. I didn't know that. So, thank you.
So I do need my other thing of here is to ask Suzanne how we did with our timing. And don't go real fast because I write this down and I have to find it.
Oh, slow it down. I am very prepared. I had a sheet that helped me to prepare very well for this.
Oh, you
Yeah.
want me to mark that down?
Are you not prepared? Is that what you're saying? I have fun with these words.
Very well.
So, timesheets. We had Sean Gallagher had a 5 to 7 minute speech, and he had 6 minutes and 26 seconds. And Carol Kormalik, your speech was 5 to 7 minutes, and you had 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Jamia Lewis, you had 10 to 12 minutes, and you had 13 minutes and 15 seconds. And when we did table topics, we had 1 to 2 minutes for each person. And Sean, you had 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Jamia had 1 minute, and Saket had 2 minutes. So those are our times.
You did timing evaluations?
No,
No. Okay.
I was told one time that I didn't really have to, but I can
Yeah,
do
that's
it
part
next
of what's
time.
being timed too. We're supposed to
Okay.
have 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll do that next time.
Okay, well, thank you for that. You did very well in doing table topics and that. Grammarian.
Yes.
See, it's not repeated here, it's on the agenda, but it's not repeated on the sign-up sheet. So, thank you for mentioning that about being prepared, and I would now like to have our report from our grammarian on how well we did with our word of the day, prepared.
Thank you again, Madam General Evaluator. Word of the day was prepared, and I like the fact you all repeated it when I told you to. Some of you wrote it down. And I've got several times for Carol. Jamia, you once or twice, right?
Once or twice. It was in my speech. I forgot it was in there. That wasn't intentional,
I
but
brought that one up.
yeah.
And Suzanne, I know you're gunning for the prize, which Carol will tell us what the prize is. I think you got 5 times. Very good. So, Kate, you didn't use it, but you're a guest. So I need to be honest with you. For the fact that you stood up here and gave your table topics on your first visit, that's a great step. That shows courage. It really does.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get to give you a round of applause. Carol, it's not often I find grammatical troubles with your speaking. You really work hard at taking them out of your speech anytime you're up here. 1 restart, 2 so's, and Adam, I don't know what it was. It was like an ATUM word that doesn't exist, but you used it somewhere along the line. So I'm giving you credit for that. Suzanne, you used so a couple times, a couple times, but it wasn't really distracting. Jamia, when you spoke your speech, restart was something you did a couple times. You did is, or that. Not excessively, but interestingly, when you gave an evaluation for Carol, you started using ums and so's.
Okay.
There's a difference, I think, in what you're presenting and your familiarity, your confidence with it, and what you're using as your grammatical crutch, just to let you know.
Thank you.
So, Kat, I've got to say this as well. Your eye contact for a beginner was very good. Your thoughts were well organized and flowed well. For the first time you got up in front of this club, your go-to word is like. You put like in the middle of sentences, trying to explain a little more, and that's a crutch word I think is across society these days. But if you want the feedback, that'll help you start thinking about. Often when we know that we hear what our crutch words are, we catch ourselves and start working on reducing that. It didn't detract from what you're trying to tell us, but it's something you may want to consider.
So I don't need to repeat that. Light. I used to say light.
I would say try not to use it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't use it as a crutch or filler word. Carol is real good at explaining it that way. These are filler words we all use when we could use pauses or as we're gaining our collecting our thoughts. Many of us throw a word out there and it's a bridge word, but it doesn't help to enhance the speech. So consider that. I think that's all I got. That's everything I've captured. Thank you very much. Madam General Evaluator again, come on up.
Thank you, and thank you for that word. It was one that I could use quite often. Once you start listening for ums and ahs, I was at a marketing committee meeting of an organization I belong to. The guy was giving a report on his public relations that he was doing. I start writing ums, ahs. He had 35 in the 5 minutes or so he gave his report. He had 35 ums and ahs. When you give an that's a longer pause than an ah is a short pause. So most people have more uhs than they do ums. But there is a difference between them. I didn't tell him, but, well, I did say afterwards, I went over and said, well, I don't know if you're interested or not, but. And he said, yeah, my wife was telling me I was saying a lot of this, so I wasn't the only one that was distracted. In his 5-minute speech, he probably used a minute and a half of uhs and ahs. So, he knows lip smacks. I heard some lip smacks tonight, but I didn't hear you report lip smacks.
I didn't hear them. You got better ears than I do.
Well, because that's one of the things I do. That's when you're in a sentence and you smack your lips at the end instead of a period. Okay, does anyone have anything that they would like to share? I do like to have the guests, if you would like to come up and tell us what you thought of the meeting, what you might have learned, and I was interested in, I didn't know that India didn't have daylight savings time. I do know that the Indian food is a lot hotter than what I eat.
Yeah, lot of spices.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean this is my second day to the Toastmaster, and what I feel is different from my previous is like one obviously is the camera, and the other thing is like sorry, so the other thing other than that is like here I am seeing that more of the feedback people are getting, and like for every instance, like for everything we are getting here feedback. For example, for a table, that thing we got a feedback. Then for 8 minute or 7 minute, that for other thing, the topic for that people are getting feedback. Even for the evaluators also, here we are getting the feedback. So these things I didn't saw there. So here the scope, what I am feeling is the scope is more wider than my previous where I went for the first time. So overall it's a very, very good experience and good learning overall. And like as you told that I need to think while talking, we have to think that like we have to remove this so that it will, because these things won't add any value to the speech. I mean, when people are speaking or when people are demoing something or public forum. So it's overall very, very good experience. And I mean, here people are across all the ages, like you are the younger and you are the eldest one. So that means a lot, because life is all about experience. I mean, what you also told, that being a grandfather, you won't share money, you will share experience. And that I really appreciate, and I also think, because I have a daughter, last year I got a baby. I mean, they are right now in India, I'm missing them badly. So my also thought process is, I am thinking that I will play with her, I will provide her the experience, or my parents will provide her the experience, because money will last, but memories won't. And even I am moving back and remembering my childhood days, what I am remembering, because with my grandparents or grandmother, how quality times I spend. And that time that time it was like a time is passing, but right now it's a lifelong memory. What I got is, it's a lifelong memory which they shared with me, and they are no more. So but still they are in my memory, they are in my dreams. So these things are really because we should pass experience to the next generation. And here in the US, because I came from the background from India, and here the culture, the good, I mean everywhere something good is there, something bad is there. So here what I experience is like people, if I talk about big people, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, they are talking about passing experience to the generation. They are donating all sort, or whatever they earn, they are simply donating their money. But in India, what people are doing is people earning not for themselves but for the next generation. So that is not, that won't help. If they are not good, the next generation, they will waste all your money. But if you pass good culture, good experience, then that will, with that they can make money. So that is, money is not a problem. So I mean it's a generation, because 1,000 years back there was no money and nothing, but people share their culture, their experience, inherited. So that got passes, and that will last for longer rather than passing money. And so these things are few things which really I like about Toastmaster, about US culture, and which will be remain with me forever. So
Is your
Can I ask
family
a-
over in India?
right now my wife and my daughter went back to India.
Oh, they did,
Yeah.
okay.
So right now I'm alone.
Oh.
So I'm spending, I mean, this quality time to get myself more better. With, I mean, I'm evaluating and I'm exploring myself with the Toastmaster and the other things.
Did you
So
visit
what-
a club in Cincinnati? Excuse me.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you visit a club in Cincinnati? The other club? Was that in
Anderson
Cincinnati?
Hills
Anderson Hills.
Oh,
It's
oh.
very nearby only. So
on the street.
Yeah.
yeah, it's nearby.
Yeah. Okay.
So, your reason for looking to experience Toastmasters is what? What are you looking to get out of Toastmasters as a personal goal?
Like I never visited a place where I can speak myself.
Okay.
Like so here again I'm using this word. Like even I am speaking here, I never got couple of in office couple of times I saw the demo, or these things never happened. And this was actually since from the, I will tell you my real life experience. When I was in high school, my English teacher was at randomly, she is picking someone and she asked for speak for 3 minutes. She gave 3 minutes of time to think, and I never attended that class in my whole life because of that fear. That if I will speak and people will laugh. But now I am more mature, and I think that if people are laughing, they are laughing on their own themselves, not on me. So I mean those things, like I want to explore this area of my, that how, because if I will be good in public speaking, and if I develop that confidence, that experience I can pass to my daughter. Actually I am doing much more of this thing because of my daughter, because I am thinking that she will get motivated or demotivated after seeing me. If I will doing something good, then obviously she will take as an opportunity, she will learn something. If I don't do, if I simply watch TV and watch, I mean, time will pass, and she will be like, I mean, how I spend my, I mean, running away from her, because that was not actually good. I mean, if I would have in that class, if I would have speak for 3 minutes, I mean, but it's never late in life. I mean, you have to stand yourself for yourself, and so those things I'm doing small things for my daughter. Now I'm more, what you call, more responsible rather than careless, so that I can give something to my daughter. So that is the main reason for the change.
I think you probably spoke 3 minutes there. Do you read?
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing.
And there was a guy from India in here, and he wanted me to meet his parents, and they wanted to cook for me. Well,
Oh, is it?
the cayenne pepper is too hot for me, and they do a lot of spices and the cumin. I don't know what all they use, but he invited me over for dinner, and I didn't want to go because I knew it would be too hot for me. Well, they tried. They did everything they could to get something, and their sweet is really good. So when she gave me that sweet, even they put spices, hot spices in their tea, and so that was
Masala
too
tea.
strong for me.
Masala tea, yeah.
So we have a lot of people in India, from India, and they learn quite a bit in our ACE club. We have several people from India. I find they have they accent a different syllable than we do, and their English is good. In fact, I don't know the way we speak. We don't say, "Did you eat?" We say, "Did you eat?"
Yeah, we take full. Did you eat? We
Yeah.
take full. We use full
That's a
sentence.
good point.
Yeah, and so I'm just amazed at how well their English is. It's the different accent, the syllable that they accent that makes me harder. And what I had told the guy, I said, I don't expect you to go home and talk with marbles in your mouth so you can speak clearer. I just pause at the end of your sentence. So if I didn't understand what you're saying, that gives me a moment to try to catch up. Because if you go right into the next sentence and wasn't clear about the last one, I missed what you're saying. But I think you would find this. I hope you would like to join us, and I can talk to you after our meeting. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to share? Jamia, you're a guest here.
I just really appreciate the opportunity to come last minute to share. I just needed to get in front of more people that I'm not usually in front of. And so it's come a long way in a short amount of time, and I still have a lot of work to do. But I appreciate this opportunity, so thank you all so much.
Yeah, because I know how well you do at ACE Toastmasters, and so I'm like, oh wow, she's going to do this in front of all these people. I hope she's going to have this on a screen, and at least use, if you're going to have your chart, use the black felt tip marker so you can see that line better. And I thought that, thank you, Sean, for that great evaluation that you did. That was really important. And thank you, Jamie. Anyone have anything else before I adjourn the meeting? We do have a sign-up sheet, and our next meeting will be Saturday, November the 18th in the room upstairs. You're not going to be there to film that day? No. But that won't be filmed, but the Thursday ones always are down here, unless Alexandra is busy and can't make it. Because we did have several people that could run the camera, and we only have one person right now that knows how to do that. If you like the meeting, let's hear it.